see the benefits, I guess, of having actual real off-season? Like, what has the last week been like with this competition, the way guys look and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the offseason is a great time. Obviously, people look at the offseason as it's off, but I think the offseason is a great time for guys to get better, expand their game, get in the weight room, get bigger, faster, stronger, things of that nature. And so I think when we all got back together after finally having an off season, you can kind of see, guys have worked on different things. Their bodies might look different. But more than anything, it's just we haven't played structured basketball. You know what I mean? Like Giannis obviously in Eurobasket had, but not all of us had, and not all of us had done it together. So to get back out there, to get back playing, and to do it with a little chip on our shoulder based off how last year ended, I thought the culmination of all of those things kind of just made for a lot of, healthy competition.
Bud told us on media day that he, in 30 years in the league, he's never seen 16 of 20 from the previous training camp come back for the next year. Y'all sick of each other?
People might be sick of me, but no, I think for me, I think it's great. I think in the NBA, one of the most difficult things about the NBA is the business of basketball and is, the continuity that you either have or don't have amongst teammates. Every single year, every other team, for the most part, you're adding different guys. You might have 2, 3, 4 pieces that stay the same, but to have 15, 16 guys that stay the same and, to have a lot of the rotational players stay the same and to be in a position to already be ahead of other teams because of that and build on what we had last year and get better at things we need to get better at from last year and be able to do it with the same group, I think puts us in a great position to, be ahead of the game.
What made you decide, when you had a decision to make, what made you decide you wanted to stay here instead of maybe looking around a little bit?
For me, I look at things a little more holistically, right? I'm fortunate to be in the position I'm in. Things that I value are winning, trying to find a way to impact winning. I think I can do both those things here. And look, I think a lot of guys make decisions based off, financials. And I think, in the NBA, we have or pro athletes in general, you have a unique timetable to make some money. Now, I'm fortunate to do things outside of basketball where I didn't want that to be the determining factor. I wanted that to play a role. But at the end of the day, I think being able to be a part of something that is bigger than myself, to be put into a position where, I think if you have an impact on a winning team, it can prolong your career, right? At the end of the day, we get paid to win games. I think, we're fighting to win championships, but to put ourselves in the best position to win, if I can be an impactful and a meaningful part of that, I think, my NBA career will be elongated.
You, I think at the end of the season, maybe other points you had talked a little bit about in your game, maybe getting back to attacking the rim, made some jokes maybe about the vertical, but so how did you approach this offseason where you're coming off a career year with the 3? Obviously that's a big part of what you're going to be asked to do, but then to maybe get back to some other things. How did you approach that?
Yeah, I kind of looked at it, again, holistically, but shooting the ball and shooting it consistently is going to be something that I have to do, something I love to do, and something that I think I can continue to get better at. Now, how do I couple that with some of the flashes of things that I've shown over my first few years here, attacking the rim, playing above the rim, finding ways to put pressure on the defense put pressure on the defense, not just behind the three-point line. And that doesn't necessarily mean scoring at the rim, but making plays, putting pressure on it to get my teammates involved, or finding ways to score at the rim. And I think for me, that was a big part of my off-season workouts, was just making sure I'm more comfortable handling the ball in different situations, more comfortable attacking the rim and getting, my legs back. We haven't had an off-season where you can really focus on strength training, explosiveness. The last few off seasons, you've been trying to just get your body back, right? Just try to get the nicks and bruises out. Try to get your body back to feeling good. This off season, unfortunately for us, it was longer, but either way, it would have been longer where you can get your body feeling healthy again, and then you can try to build and expand and grow off of your explosiveness and your strength, and that was a major focal point for me.
Was like Chris joking like he had more dunks than you or something like that? Like, is that what really started it?
Have more dunks than me? It was close? Well, I mean, just because it was close. Just because it was close doesn't mean it was there. I mean, if my legs aren't feeling good and I still figured out a way to have more dunks than Chris, then no, I think, for me, it was just looking at things critically. One of the reasons I've been able to, and fortunate to get to where I am in my career is you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest with how your body feels. You got to be honest with the things that you need to improve on. And, I think I improved on left-handed finishing last year, right? Well, how can I continue to grow off that? But I improved on it because I looked at myself and said it's not good enough. And so when I look at the last few years, I don't think my explosiveness has been good enough, right? And I think I came in here, I think, I surprised a bit of everybody with the dunks and the playing above the rim that I had the ability to do. And, I think building my basketball game and shooting threes and being more consistent in that helped me in my basketball career. Now, if I can couple those two things together, I think I can take another big step.
What does it mean to be given that room to grow, right? You're not worried about, I'm not gonna say you're not worried about playing or whatever, but that was what it was when you first got here. It was how do I crack the rotation? Now that's not a concern and you can actually do those things.
Yeah, I mean, that was another reason I wanted to come back, right? The grass isn't always greener, and we got pretty damn green grass here. So for me, being in a position where I can continue to expand my role and continue to get better at the game of basketball individually, which can help us collectively, was another reason I wanted to make sure I stayed a part of it. The things that they value here in this organization, winning, impact plays, and then being able to give you the freedom to grow your role, it kind of – and, having my guy Charles Lee back, who was just heckling me from the stands, it's cool because you can take steps in your personal progression, but it's always in alignment with the team progression.
I know you came back from the hand surgery and finished out the season, but just how, as you look back at that and coming back from that, did it affect you more than you thought, or you didn't? I know at the time you're oh, it's the same, but, giving yourself a little bit of time. But did that affect you at all in terms of coming back and maybe the way you shot the ball?
Look, anytime you got to cut open a body part, I'm sure it has some sort of effect. But for me, it is what it is, right? Whether it affected me or didn't affect me, it's something that I'm going to have to deal with and something I'll have to deal with for the rest of my life. But continuing to do rehab, continue to get the strength back. The swelling's almost officially gone now. There's just a cool little tough-looking scar that I got a foul on me called for that play, so that I don't know if it was worth it, but it was worth it in the long scope of just being able to put myself in a position to be healthy. Because I do think that's a big part of the game, right? You can only get better at basketball. You can only have an impact on winning if you're healthy, if you're out there on the floor.
Pat, if you could reflect back to your rookie season, what were the toughest parts of those first few practices, and what have you seen from Marjan and AJ in that aspect?
I think they've handled themselves great. I think the toughest part for me in those first few practices was the speed of the game a little bit. I was playing with guys, Dame, CJ, where everything's just moving fast. The court, the players, everyone's bigger, but they're moving faster than they were in college. And so to be able to settle down, to be able to settle in and start to be able to anticipate some things, that's where I started to grow in my second and third year. What I've seen from Marjan and AJ is I think they've done a tremendous job of finding a way to impact the game even with it moving fast in different areas, right? And things that they can do. AJ can shoot the ball, right? Find ways to find open shots or move without the ball to find open shots. Marjan can defend and have an impact on defense or rebounding, right? Find ways to impact the ball handler and pressure him or use his length to get into passing lanes. And I think that's where for them, you got to start. And that's kind of where I started. How can I be athletic? How can I crash the offensive boards? How can I crash the defensive boards? And how can I play defense? And then as you continue to get more comfortable with the speed of the game throughout the year, find other ways to slowly add to it.